Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back again with another video. Today, we'll be doing a Leicester away preview at the King Power Stadium. Arsenal are going into this game already beating Leicester City in the last five matchups. Every single game they've won against Leicester the last five times we played them. Could this be a rude awakening, though, for Arsenal, as Arsenal's attack is really thin as it stands? Most people go to Dubai for a holiday and warm weather training, light warm weather training, but lo and behold, Arsenal go to Dubai with already a thin attack. And what happens? Lo and behold, so predictable, same old Arsenal. Kai Havertz sustains a hamstring injury during intense training, which is what was reported to be intense training drills, and he's done his hamstring in Dubai, which rules him out for the rest of the season, seeing him having to undergo surgery very soon in the next coming days, ruled out for the rest of the season with physio and rehab to commence after his surgery is done successfully. Right now, as it stands, Arsenal's attack is frail, as thin as my hair, as frail as a nanny, as very poor this Arsenal attack situation going into Leicester. And you're thinking, well, Leicester at least have options on the bench. Could this be a rude Vinastroy awakening for Arsenal going to Leicester away at the King Power Stadium? Already seeing the results yesterday of Liverpool dropping points to Everton at the Goodison Park final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. We saw Liverpool drop points and a bloody scrap in the end of the game. Typically, when teams drop points, Arsenal don't normally capitalize on it. We've seen it happen time and time again, not just this season, but in the past as well. Even recently, in the past few seasons, when we see our opponents drop points, we also seem to drop points and not pick them up when we should be. Going into this game, though, are you confident going into Leicester away with Arsenal's attack, especially knowing where Leicester are in the league at this moment? Leicester currently stand in a relegation battle. We are going to talk about injury updates. We are going to talk about Leicester's relegation battle. Are they going to survive being up in the Premier League at the end of the season, or are they going to get back relegated again? Is Ruud van Nistelrooy's job on the line, or are they giving the guy till the end of the season? I'm going to be doing my predicted 11. More like the 11 that's so predictable because, I mean, do we really have an 11 to predict? Because we don't have any attackers. Some people saying Marino can play up front. I think that's rubbish. And even the shouts for Calafiori to play striker. When Calafiori went on media and said that he can play striker, he didn't mean for the Premier League. He meant like Sunday League, casual, chilled back football, not for the Premier League when you're trying to compete and challenge Liverpool for a potential Premier League title and you're still in the Champions League. So people keep saying play Calafiori up front, play Mikel Marino up front. This is not Football Manager and this is not FIFA. So you guys need to put those thoughts to bed. But we're going to unpack this video. We're going to go through my thoughts on this Leicester away game, my score predictions. Am I confident going into this game, especially knowing that Arsenal's last five games against Leicester, every matchup we've won. Last season, we beat them 4-2 with a brace by James Justin. And some players to look out for Leicester. They don't really have many to look out for, to be honest. But of course, we know Jamie Vardy's still playing for Leicester, and I think it's his last season with them. Hi, Gitos. Thanks for joining. You should be working right now, but thanks for joining. Hi, Patrick. Hope you're well. Happy New Year to you, Patrick. I did see your videos. Hi, Wolfie. Good to see you, Wolfie. Good stream yesterday. And just like you guys, we have a number 9 crisis at Arsenal. We go to Dubai for warm weather training where you're supposed to see the boys relaxing, taking their mind off of things. Last season, we did that because we had a winter break. This season, we went to Dubai because we got eliminated by Manchester United in the FA Cup. We got eliminated to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, so already eliminated from 2 domestic cups, just like last season. And we went to Dubai thinking it's going to help us, and yet it's hindered us even further. Not getting a adequate reinforcement in the January window when we looked at the entire European market. pretty much this January window, and we looked within the Premier League, outside the Premier League. We sent scouts even abroad, and to come out of that January window with zero reinforcements in attack is really, really on us. And the board do have pie on their face and blood on their hands. And even I think Mikel Arteta is to blame for some of this too. We did hear that Tim Lewis didn't want to sign off on the Ollie Watkins deal. It was reported by The Athletic that was the case. And I know you have to pay for that subscription for The Athletic to read the full article. But it was reported that Tim Lewis didn't want to sign off on Watkins because we didn't want to pay 60 million for a 28-year-old turning 29 years old, even though Trossard and Aubameyang, who signed for us, were at the same age of Ollie Watkins. And I'm damn sure Ollie Watkins could help us right about now if they were willing to let him go and lose John Duran in the same window. With that being said, enjoy keeping the powder dry for the summer, Arsenal, because our attack is as thin and frail as ever before. And we're now having to play, we still have to play Old Trafford away, Anfield away, and we're still in the Champions League. Either we could get Feyenoord or Juventus as it stands in the round of 16 of the Champions League knockout stages, which is a tough competition. Yes, we did get through the group stages without having to play a playoffs by finishing in that top 8 bracket, but that doesn't mean the rest of the competition is going to be easy. We were relying on Kai Havertz to play every single game. Arteta said he was expecting Havertz to play every single game. He came out and said that publicly, and it's quite frustrating now that Havertz is injured, out for the rest of the season, and we're now seeing that we have no one in attack, relying on a kid, Lewis Skelly, constantly relying on Ethan Nwaneri. And now Raheem Sterling. Is this really going to be his time to step up in that left wing position that he prefers? Or do we change the formation entirely to play left wing backs like Kieran Tierney and then change the formation, which I don't think Arteta will do? I'll talk about my predicted 11 going into this Leicester game on how I think Arteta will set up and what I think we would most likely do. I am going to go through this video. Thanks everyone in the chat who's tuned in and everyone watching on Twitter. If you do want to hop on YouTube, just click the link in my Twitter bio. You'll be able to join the YouTube stream. I'll go ahead and cue the intro now. We'll get through this preview and let me know your thoughts on if you're confident going into this game at Leicester, away from home at the King Power Stadium. So let me cue the intro real quick. So first and foremost, going into this game at the King Power Stadium, Arsenal's last 5 matchups against Leicester have been positive results. Nothing but positive results, actually. We beat them every single time in the last 5 games we played them. So nothing to worry about. Last season at home, we beat them 4-2. James Justin got a brace. I believe Bukayo Saka scored the opening goal for us. We beat them 1-0 in 2023. We beat them 4-2 again in 2022. And we beat them 2-0 in 2022 and 2-0 again in 2021. Arsenal have won every single game in the last 5 games they played against Leicester, but I think the only threat that comes out of these games would be the inevitable Jamie Vardy. The only problem caused against us, I would say, is Jamie Vardy, and maybe you could say James Justin to some extent. I know Leicester still have Ndidi. They do have some injury concerns as well, and they failed to score in their last 4 games, whereas Arsenal, if Arsenal avoid defeat against Leicester this weekend, this will extend our unbeaten streak in the Premier League to 15 games. It'll be the longest unbeaten run since the 2008-2009 season for Arsenal, where we went 21 games unbeaten in the Premier League. So if Arsenal get a positive result or even draw to Leicester and stay unbeaten, we'll be 15 games unbeaten in the Premier League, which is a good record to have. Big up everyone in the chat. Sorry, Taki, please can you keep the drama out of my chat? Honestly, guys, just this is a football stream. If you have issues with each other, just deal with it privately, please. This is not a children's playground, and it's really disrespectful to be bringing up crap in my stream chat. So please, if you're gonna stay in my chat room, just talk about football. If you have personal issues with each other, deal with it yourselves. You're literally ruining my stream, and I would never do that in your chat rooms. Anyway, moving on to the rest of the stream. I don't think Leicester would really cause us problems, to be honest, going into this game. I'm quite confident, even though we have a thin and frail attack as it stands. I was at the 4-2 home game. Jesus, some magic. Yeah, Saka scored as well. And Kai Havertz out for the rest of the season. Leicester didn't really cause problems with us. I do think we have the upper hand overall, especially analyzing the last 5 games. Um, I expect us to get the job done and be somewhat control of the game in the first half at least, and be able to, I guess, bring on someone like Jorginho to control the midfield if we need support. But my main midfield would be Partey, Rice, Odegaard, and we'll go through that when we talk about the predicted 11 for this game. Leicester are a newly promoted side this season, but they've failed to score in their last 4 games. They've actually lost their last 4 games. And we're away from home. I know the Leicester fans will be up for it. Vardy will definitely be up for it against a big team. You saw what he did against Tottenham, the shithousery. And maybe it's possible he could be up for it against a big Premier League side. It is his final season playing football. I think he's going to retire at the end of the season. Lo and behold, he's quite old now. Maybe he's still got it. We never know. But I do think Arsenal will dominate this game and be able to win this game comfortably. And, I just mentioned earlier in this stream that having Liverpool drop points to Everton at Goodison Park, Arsenal need to capitalize on this opportunity. And the one thing that we don't do normally when other teams like Liverpool or Man City drop points is we tend to drop points as well. So regardless of Liverpool dropping points, we need to make sure we pick up where we left off. And if Arsenal remain unbeaten and avoid defeat against Leicester, we'll be unbeaten 15 games in the Prem this season so far. Which will be quite good. As it stands, we're unbeaten 14 games in the Premier League. We've won 9 games and drew 5. Which is our longest run without losing in the competition since December 2010 and April 2011. Under Arsene Wenger, we went 16 games, I believe, on a run. So that was quite good. Leicester City have lost their 4 Premier League games last back-to-back without scoring. So I do think they're going into this game expecting to be battered by Arsenal, which we should take advantage of. But what can we take advantage of when we have a frail attack as it begins with who are we going to play in attack? I don't think there's much options, and our lineup is pretty much predictable. God, I wish that Bukayo Saka is not going to be rushed back into this team. That's the last thing we want, because the injury that Bukayo Saka had was the very similar injury that Reece James has had, and Reece James put off surgery for a long time, and you've seen how many times he's been in and out of the hospital. So I do hope that Arsenal can win this game on set piece FC. And I don't give a damn who's going to make fun of us for scoring set piece goals or celebrating set piece goals, because if that's something we're good at, come on, Gabriel Magalhaes is still one of our top goal scorers, and no one can take that away from us. So if we can be clinical and take our chances, the finishing in the final third, definitely something to mention. I do think setup wise, Leicester will not try to get at us. I do think they'll try to park the bus. And I do think set pieces wise we're quite good, and we can dominate the game on getting set pieces, whether it's on a corner or getting headers from a corner. I do think Trossard and Gabriel Magalhaes can help with us. And speaking of Trossard has been someone we've relied on in the past, coming off as an impact super sub substitution. But at this moment in this season, we've relied on him quite a bit this season due to injuries, as being in the starting 11 more than just coming off the bench firepower, or gunpowder, as the club would like to call it. And I don't think that's something that's been as effective as him coming off the bench this season. Now, for the rest of the season, we're going to have to play him in our starting 11. I do hope he brings his A game. The same thing with Raheem Sterling. And asking for Raheem Sterling to bring his A game when we don't even know what his best game is a big ask. And it's kind of unfair to him as well. let's see what happens with this team going into the Leicester game. Will they be up for it? I really hope so, because if we can't beat Leicester, then I don't think this league is meant for us. And Leicester are in, I think, 15th to 18th in the league. They're in a relegation battle right now, and Arsenal need to dominate and take advantage of the opportunities we have. Even if we have a frail attack, there's no excuses to be made. I do think we should dominate in terms of set pieces in this game. We're second in the table, and we need to show why we're second in the table. I think going into 18th in the league, Leicester City, we shouldn't be afraid of them, but I do think we shouldn't underestimate them as well, and we shouldn't park the bus or be too comfortable or take our foot off the gas, is what I'm trying to say. Going into this game now, we do have some injury concerns, which I talked about in my last two videos. Before I do that, shout out to everyone tuned in the chat. Scott, thank you for joining. That's exactly what I mentioned. Trossard can't do it consistently. And I do think he's more impactful coming off the bench as a super substitution than when he's in the starting 11. But at this moment, the board and the management is to blame, because we have no reinforcements in this season. In January window and in the summer, we failed to get adequate backups for our attackers, and injury after injury. We've just been so unlucky with injuries, and I would say also poor squad management as well. Hi, Chris. Thanks so much for joining. Chris says, not sure last night was 2 points lost or a point gained. Yeah, Chris, I need to ask you that, because I don't think Liverpool were at their best yesterday, if I'm being honest. And I know you're a Liverpool fan, but you're also very honest. You were very honest with me about Declan Rice when we signed him and what we would expect from him. And you're someone who I can talk football with without having the fear of being judged on my opinions or scrutinized for my opinions. So I don't think Liverpool were all that yesterday. And I do think Everton should have got a penalty. There was a handball incident of Ibrahim Konate, I believe it was, and the penalty was not even given to Everton. The fights in the end, yes, it did get bloody, and I do think that the PGMOL might fine Arsenal for it. If they'll always look for a way to find Arsenal. And no, I'm not playing the victim card, it's just banter. But if we can't be 18th place Leicester, then I do think questions need to be asked, because I do think we'll win this game. And I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park, but I do think we're going to win this game, and I'm quite confident going into this game. As I just mentioned, Leicester are in a relegation battle. Ruud van Nistelrooy is their manager, former Man United manager, temporary manager for Man United before Ruben Amorim took over. There was concerns that Van Nistelrooy might get sacked, but it's too late in the season to do that when you're at the business end of the season. Already your team failing to get points, as many points to survive. Leicester only have 17 points, with Ipswich right behind them on 16 and Southampton on 9. It does look like Leicester are going to get relegated as it stands. And I do think they're just going to ride it out with Ruud van Nistelrooy until the end of the season, where they'll fix up and go back to try to get back into the Premier League if they get relegated as things stand. Going into injury concerns, I did talk about it in my last two videos. Kai Havertz is ruled out with a hamstring injury for the rest of the season. Martinelli is expected to be back sometime around March, April, with muscular-related injury concerns. Saka had surgery on his hamstring. I believe it's his thigh area or hamstring, I'm not sure, but we did see the incision photos. He did have surgery, and he'll be available in April, from what Ben Dinnery reported and from David Ornstein. So we'll see what happens with that, whether Saka will play any Champions League games in the knockout stages. Ben White should be expected to make the bench for Leicester. I do think he might make the bench for Leicester on Saturday, which will be advantageous to us, but I do think Timber keeps his place in the starting 11. Timber has been such a solid signing for us, and I'm glad we signed him. So moving on into, I guess, the main injury concern for Tomiyasu. He's out for the rest of the season. He has to do another knee-related surgery. We're not sure what type of surgery, whether he's going to require knee replacement or not. Sami Mokbel, really reliable journalist for the Daily Mail, he indicated that Tomiyasu's surgery from 2 years ago failed him, and that he would have to undergo surgery again. It is kind of been disclosed that Tomiyasu has been dealing with some health-related concerns, mental health-wise. So I do wish both of these players a safe and speedy recovery alongside Martinelli. I don't want to rush back Bukayo Saka. Hopefully that's not the case. And you guys know already, Gabriel Jesus has done his ACL and is out for the rest of the season. We saw pictures recently of him with his wife and daughter on his wife's birthday with crutches. So we know he's not going to be available anytime soon. And Ben White should make it back for the bench from what we have to wait for Arteta's presser on Friday, which will be tomorrow afternoon. We'll hear Arteta's presser. I do think that they'll do probably a final fitness assessment for Ben White and see whether he's available to make it on the bench for Leicester away. He was at a 25% availability rate at the moment and currently being assessed by Arsenal. That's all the injuries for Arsenal as it stands from what I provided to you already. Leicester, I don't think Leicester have big injury concerns. I'm going to go through Leicester's injury concerns right now. They have 5 injuries. Fatawu is a knee injury, out for the rest of the season. Ricardo Pereira ruled out for the rest of the season with a thigh injury, already in recovery state as well. He already gone through physio and rehab as it stands. Vestergaard, I think Vestergaard is back in full training and potentially returning next. Could be on the bench for Leicester this Saturday. Christensen passed the fitness test, could be available. He did train, from my understanding, so I do think he's ready to be back as well for Leicester. And Vardy had a slight knock, so I do think Vardy's definitely going to play this game and one to look out for. You guys know a Vardy party when you see one, and that's one player, you know, when he's in the right areas, you know what Vardy can be capable of doing even at his grown age. Hi Srinath, hope you're well. Good to see you. It's been a while, Srinath. I wanted to do a Chelsea watch along tomorrow, but I might be traveling if I decide to go for that Leicester game. If not, I'll do a watch along on my channel. Jose says Ethan at a striker would be the move I'd go for. Is Daka still at Leicester? Patson Daka, great player for Leicester, but such a shame with his injury concerns. Yeah, he's still at Leicester, but he's just such an injury-prone player. He's 26 years old. I think between Daka and Eddie Nketiah, Daka only has 1 goal this season, and of course, Eddie only has 0 in the Premier League as it stands. We know Eddie scored in the Carabao Cup games, but that's a different competition entirely. Hi, Kane. Thanks for joining. Good to see you, Scott. Scott says our defensive structure is more important than ever now, 100%. If we can still keep our strong defense, then that's something that we really need to dominate on. I think Gabriel's been quite a bit solid defender than sometimes with regards to Saliba this season. I'm so glad that we have both of them, and there were rumors about Saliba being linked to Real Madrid, but I think those should be dismissed. Hopefully Saliba will sign another extension. I'm assuming it's going to be a short-term extension. And Arsenal, definitely this is the game where we need to be clinical on our chances. My score predictions going into this game. Before I give mine, let me know in the comments your score predictions. If you are watching on Twitter, let me know your score predictions, whether you're confident going into this game. I unfortunately don't think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet going into this game. I do think that Vardy will score against us, whether it be a penalty or an open goal. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal away win on the road at the King Power Stadium. This game is very sensitive to me. A game that's, I'll always remember Leicester in the league. The last reverse fixture we played in 2023, Martinelli scored a goal for my friend that passed away from liver disease. And I'll never forget the Leicester fixture and the kind gesture of him to do that for my friend that passed away. He passed away in his late 20s, but his favorite player was Gabriel Martinelli. So that Leicester game is always one that I'll look up to and I'll remember for my friend that passed away. Really close friend of mine. I'm getting emotional just talking about it, but I'm quite confident going into this game, and that's the game that I do have some sentiment for. This fixture, every time I see it when Leicester are promoted, I always think of my friend. So I do think we're going to win this game. I don't know how we're going to score without an attack, but I'm going to go with set piece FC and I'll go for a 2-1 win. I do think that Vardy might score against us, which is why I'm not keeping a clean sheet away at the King Power Stadium. But if we do keep a clean sheet, I'll be for it. And I'm gonna go with us scoring from a corner, definitely, to get the opening goal on the score sheet. But I do think that Leicester are gonna pull a goal back, so it'll be a 2-1 victory. I believe Moss is going for a classic 1-0 to the Arsenal. Jose is going 2-0. Jordan's going 2-0. Scott's going, I can see Arteta playing a 4-4-2. We can't play Trossard, Ethan, Sterling, and have no forwards on the bench. Yeah, the only forward that would be on the bench is an academy kid, Butler Oyedeji, and we can't rely on that kid. Come on, he's not even that good in the academy, too. Arsenalist is going Arsenal 3-1. Great score prediction there. It would be nice if we could score 3. Thanks, Jose. He says, remembering the great Mr. Featley. Yeah. Gabriel Martinelli dedicated his goal against Leicester at the King Power Stadium to my friend Stephen before he passed away. He was in a coma at the time when we saw the message and when Martinelli's media team contacted us. But it was one of my friend's dreams before he passed away. He wanted to hear from his favorite soccer player or footballer. Big up, Jack. Thanks for joining. Scott's going 3-1 Arsenal as well. Well, we have some confidence in the chat room as it stands, even though our attack is frail and thin. So going into my predicted 11, I do think, just as I mentioned earlier, predicted 11 isn't really predictable for the Arsenal as it stands now, because it was so predictable that our attack was going to have more injuries. Being so that we failed to sign reinforcements in the January window and in the summer 2024 window that just finished. We didn't really address the attacking concerns. We didn't get a viable backup for Bukayo Saka, and there's been a lot of pressure on Saka and Havertz to play every single game without a rest, without proper rest. Even going for internationals, they're not really resting there as well. Akinola, big up to you, my friend. He says Arsenal 3-0. Nice picture, by the way. I did see you retweet my stream on Twitter, so I figured you might join if you're not working. I know it's evening where you are in Nigeria, so thanks for joining. My lineup for this game, guys, is pretty much so predictable. But I'm going with a predicted 11 that I think Arteta would do. I know you guys are going to give me predicted 11s that you prefer. But I'm trying to think what Arteta would do, and I do think Arteta would stick to the basics and not try to twist and change so much. So my in goal, of course, Raya. I never want to see Neto play another game for us. By the way, I think 2 weeks ago it was reported that we agreed personal terms with that Ryan Garcia goalkeeper we won in the summer. That had a 30 million or so release clause. So I do think Arsenal are still keen on signing that Ryan Garcia in the summer. One to watch out for, but Neto's definitely not the answer and not going to be kept permanently. Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis, Kelly. The back line speaks for itself. I'm not twisting and changing. The only thing I'll mention here is I do think that Ben White will make the bench for this game. My midfield is Partey, Rice, Odegaard. My front three is Ethan, right wing, Trossard, 9, and Sterling, left wing. If we're changing the system, which I don't think Arteta would do, then I do think I would rather see Kieran Tierney left wing back or Lewis Skelly at left wing and put Ben White in center back and move Timber. But I don't think this will be the case. I don't think Ben White will be rushed back into the starting 11 in his first game back if it's Saturday. I do think this is the starting 11 Arteta would do. So Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis, Skelly, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Trossard, 9, Ethan Waneri right wing, and Sterling left wing. Mind you, in Sterling's defense, and this is probably the only time you're going to hear me say in Sterling's defense, because it's very hard to defend Sterling. In Sterling's defense, in the last game he played for us in the league, he played at left wing, and he was not bad. But the not bad is not the expectations we should have for a Premier League player, whether it be a loan or a permanent signing. It's very poor from him. We're not seeing any steam from him. And of course, in front of goal, we're seeing him miss opportunities, just like we're seeing Kai Havertz miss easy opportunities for the Arsenal. Hi JP, thanks for joining. Zola, big up to you, join from Twitter. Scott says it will be interesting to see if teams play more attacking in the future games, knowing our attack is already depleted. That's a great point to mention. Maybe they might take advantage of us having a frail attack. Just put Partey at right back in. You'll be 99% close to Arteta's predicted 11. Oh no. I never want to see Partey at right back again. I'm telling you guys, we've never seen a game this season where Partey at right back has given us a positive result in the game. There was one game where we moved Partey at right back and we shifted like 3 other positions just to accommodate Partey at right back. It was horrible. Hi, JPT. Hope you're having a good time in Colombia with the missus. Enjoy the warm weather and a lot of beers, a lot of drinks. Have a good time. Hopefully, you're getting a nice tan in there too. Enjoy the warm weather while it lasts because we just got snowed in here in Toronto. 25 centimeters of snow and it's still snowing outside. JPT says the Pep clones don't change their systems, they die on that hill. Exactly, and that's exactly why I said this is the predicted 11 that I think Arsenal could line up with after Kai Havertz's injury concerns. And I do think this is the 11 that Arteta would pick, going to a default like a computer program. Scott says Sterling definitely tries, but it seems everything is hard work for him now. And going into this team now with already so much pressure on the team, so much pressure was on Kai Havertz even before he got injured. He was our top goal scorer, and for him to now be out for the rest of the season and us now saying Sterling's now your time, it's a huge ask, and it was already a huge ask expecting anything positive from that loan signing or opportunity, whatever you want to call it. I don't really think it was an opportunity, and I don't even think that was a plan in our transfer window. I do think it was just something offered to us from Chelsea, and Arsenal went for it because Chelsea would cover majority of his wages, which was a shambles of a decision, which we're now seeing reflected in the light. Hi Jabril, thanks for joining from Twitter, Jabril. Hope you're having a good time. I did watch Raptors Cavs yesterday, disappointing, but I'm happy we're tanking. Project Tank is still on for the Raptors, and of course we signed Brandon Ingram to a 3-year deal for 120 M's. So welcome to Toronto, Brandon Ingram. Maybe I'll do a separate video on the Raptors signings and us tanking this team. Man, the Raptors are so inconsistent. We win some, we lose some, we can't even tank properly. We're playing Miami Heat Friday. Of course, no more Jimmy Butler for the Heat, so it'll be interesting to see how we'll do against the Heat on Friday. Jabril says, do you think the Raptors made a good move giving all that money to Brandon Ingram? Well, to be honest, Brandon Ingram, I thought he would expect 55 to re-sign with the Raptors, so to give him 45. But the only problem is that BI, it's his health and fitness, and it kind of ties in with Arsenal because we have so many injury concerns, and with Brandon Ingram, he has a really big injury record. I did say it would be a good business from Masai if he re-signed for less than 45 or less than 50 if he re-signed, and if he could stay healthy. I think that's a big ask from Brandon Ingram. We know what he can offer for us. He is a good player if he can stay fit, so it's fun to watch, definitely, Jabril. I already talked about my score predictions. I already talked about players to look out for. I talked about our last 5 matchups with Leicester, which we have won all 5 games, every single appearance, home and away, with Leicester in the last 5 games. Leicester are in a relegation battle, which we discussed, and I do think Arsenal are going to be comfortable in this game to some extent. But with that being said, I wouldn't ask for this team to put their foot off the gas in attack. Because at any moment, Jamie Vardy can come into the game. And Didi still plays for Leicester, so we'll see how Leicester will do. But Leicester, they're going into this game already with low confidence, not winning in their last 4 games, whereas Arsenal are so far in a good round. Moss is going 3-1 to the Arsenal. All right, fair. I'm going 2-1 to the Arsenal. Those of you putting bets on these games, bet for an Arsenal win. I'm sure you're going to win good money. Those of you that can bet and make parlays. Those of you traveling to the game at the King Power Stadium, have a great time. This is going to be a good game. King Power Stadium, good atmosphere, hopefully, from our fans, away fans, traveling away fans, and Leicester fans could be up for this game. Of course, Vardy, you know what Vardy's like against big Premier League teams. I guess his shithousery, and I'm so glad Ben White will be back. I missed his shithousery, but I don't think he's gonna walk into the starting 11 just yet. Timber has been so good and undroppable form, even Miles Lewis Skelly. Jose says our defense is our best asset. I can't see Leicester scoring. Maybe we'll see. And you know, I really hope our defense stays like a colossal we know it to be, because that's the only thing we got left. And set pieces. Nobody can take our set piece work that Nicholas Jover has done for us over the last few seasons away from us. So I do hope if we're gonna see 2 goals or 3 goals, you best believe it's coming from a penalty or from set pieces. So and that's fine. Like there's no issue with that, especially knowing that we have no forwards. We don't have forward cover on the bench, which is quite worrying. But I am going for an Arsenal win here, and I'm quite confident going into this game. Next up, after Leicester at the King Power Stadium, we have West Ham at home. I'll be likely to go to that game with some friends, so I might do a preview while in London if I can, or I'll do it at the airport before the game. We'll see how it goes with my work schedule, but I would like to go to that West Ham game, and then we have Chelsea at home. Gonna be a good game. Chelsea at home. Of course, Sterling cannot play because he's on loan from Chelsea, parent club loan. You can't have him play. Hopefully Martinelli could be back for that game, but we're still having to wait for proper assessments on Martinelli. Arteta's press conference is tomorrow, so those of you that want to tune into that, I might do a video on that, but depending on work tomorrow, whether I can cover Arteta's presser. But this is my preview for the Leicester game. Could this be a rude awakening for Arsenal, or could Arsenal continue to dominate and pick up all 3 points from Leicester at the King Power Stadium? Already seeing Everton collect points off of Liverpool at Goodison Park in the final Merseyside derby. This is an opportunity for Arsenal to pick up points and make the gap smaller upon Liverpool and continue to put pressure on Liverpool in the league to some extent. Jose says all that matters is the 3 points from here to June. Listen, if we can manage with this stinky attack until the March international break, until a couple of fixtures, until the March international break ends, we'll have Martinelli back. Hopefully we have Saka back in training, a light training, if it's the case, and I think we could survive if we can shithouse our way and manage with this attack. We can make some changes in attack as it stands to accommodate the injuries. I do think that Arsenal could get through these couple of games until we have some tough fixtures coming up after the March international break. It's going to be handball victories for the next coming weeks, so be prepared for that. People are not ready for the next 4 weeks of handball, 1-0 wins or 2-0 wins coming up in the next few weeks, but I do think that you got to brace yourself for it, set piece and inshallah ball until approximately April or May. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I do think until the March international break will be, if we can ride through until then, hopefully we can do so. But this is definitely a combination of bad planning and bad luck in terms of injuries that's got us here to the point where we have no fit attackers, and we're now relying on Sterling. We're relying heavily on Issa Nwaneri, Miles Lewis Skelly. Having to depend on Sterling, is that really a big ask? Can he perform to the expectations we want? You know, Arteta spoke about Kai before and talked about his availability, his robustness, but now he's injured. So him being a powerhouse is the word that Arteta used, and I do think it's crazy that Arteta just spoke about Kai like that last week, and he became injured, almost like we're tempting and playing with fate. And this season has been absolutely bonkers with regards to injuries. It's gonna be bad for us. To have your first choice front three out for at least a month all at the same time is crazy bad luck. Like somebody's done juge on us, especially with your backup striker also being out for the rest of the season. Definitely a lesson to be learned with bad planning from the board and from management to some extent though. But insane bad luck though, a combination of it. JBT says Raheem can't play. What will anyone ever do, bro? Let's get a watch along for the Chelsea game. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to the Chelsea game. I do want to go. I do have a ticket for it. So I'll see if I can go to West Ham and Chelsea. That's probably my next two games. I haven't been there since Man City, so it'll be a good game. We'll see how we go on. And with that being said, folks, we're almost 40 minutes in. I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. If you do follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is Miss Melina, just like the handle on here. I do have a Discord server for my channel. Those of you that want to join, you don't have to be an Arsenal fan, but majority of them at the moment are Arsenal fans. It is quite new, so I'm still adding to it and learning the ins and outs on how to maneuver through Discord, so bear with me, please. But you'll see the latest updates of injury news, anything I hear on injury concerns, player updates, and also transfer news upcoming in the summer. We'll talk about that on Discord. If you do want to join the community there, it is free to join. I'll post the link in the description. I'll actually put the link in the chat, those of you that want to join. Those of you that already follow me on Twitter, and we talk on Twitter regularly, if you do want to join the Discord community, it is free to join. All I ask is you please be respectful of other people, and there are some rules to follow in there, basically normal housekeeping ground rules. Please no racism, sexism, all xenophobia, anti-Semitism. Just be respectful and treat people with kindness. Treat people how you want to be treated. I don't think that's a big ask. I did make it quite recently, so if you do want to join, you're welcome to. We are going to talk more football in there as well. I do share my stream updates first and foremost, so those people in there know priority when I'm going to go live. And I'm soon going to do shows with subscribers, so those of you that want to join on my streams and want to take part on the streams, just shoot me a message on Twitter and we can work something out. As long as you know what you're talking about and you talk sense, then of course we can do a stream together. I have done collaborations last week with JPT and Wolfie on their channel talking about our failed transfer window, and quite regularly I go on the Gooner channel, which is a great chilled back, laid back approach to all things Arsenal. We talk on there, which is quite great. That's every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will be there tonight at 10:30 live on the Gooner channel, so tune in there, folks, if you do want to join. It's a virtual Arsenal pub, actually. But thanks to everyone who's joined, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're watching on Twitter. I'm on the road to 9.3K subs. So thanks to each and every one of you. It's been a large community we've grown in the last 5 years now. Crazy to say I've been doing this for 5 years, but it's nice to talk all things Arsenal and share my views of the club, share our frustrations together, vent about, our failed transfer window. Nothing new with regards to Arsenal's poor management. But I did make a server. Those of you that want to join, it is free to do so. Thanks everyone for your support on Twitter. Last week was really kicking my ass at work, so I didn't really get to do much videos. You'll be seeing more videos from me today. I'm wanting to do a Porto Roma watch along today for the Europa League. I'm still thinking about it, but we have been snowed in here, so I'm gonna go shovel the snow. Thanks everyone who's tuned in, and we'll see you all. If I don't go to the Leicester game, we'll see you all Saturday for a Leicester Arsenal watch along at the King Power Stadium. Those of you going to the game, enjoy the game. Have a great time. Safe travels to the King Power and back. And take care, everyone. I'll see you all for the next one. Adios. Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care, everyone. All my socials are going to be in the description below. But if you do want to follow me on Twitter, it's Miss Melina. Unfortunately, I can't broadcast to Twitter all the time. Sometimes I get glitches with regards to Twitter Blue. So if you don't see my stream on Twitter, that might be the reason why. My StreamYard has been glitching lately. I'm not sure the case. I do have to contact them about that. But my Instagram is also Miss Melina, and my Discord link has been posted in the chat. I'll also post it in the description. Thanks everyone for tuning in live. Hopefully this is not a rude awakening for Arsenal, and Arsenal get all 3 points at the King Power Stadium. Take care everyone, and as always, come on you Gunners. Adios. We're out of here.